What if the most powerful person in the room said nothing at all? Nietzsche believes silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon. In this video, we reveal how to dominate any space using quiet intensity, psychological edge, and unspoken control. Speak less, command more. Outsmart everyone without a single word. Chapter 1: The Silent Power, Nietzsche's Philosophy of Presence. You walk in. You don't speak. You don't gesture. You simply exist. And yet the room shifts. People glance. Conversations pause. Something about you unsettles them. That's not charisma. That's presence. And it's exactly what Friedrich Nietzsche understood and mastered. Nietzsche believed that true power doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to explain itself. It doesn't even need to speak. In fact, the most commanding force in any room is often the one that says the least. Silence, when used with intention, becomes a weapon. A quiet, unnerving, irresistible weapon. This idea pulses through Nietzsche's concept of the will to power. Most people think of power as dominance through words, arguments, or status. But Nietzsche saw it differently. Power to him was the ability to shape reality through sheer presence. The lion doesn't roar to prove it's a lion. It just is. Think about the last time someone walked into a room and didn't say a word, but everyone noticed. Maybe it was their posture, their gaze, the way they moved. That's the kind of silent authority Nietzsche admired. It's not about being loud. It's about being undeniable. In today's world, we're trained to talk, to explain, to justify. But what if silence is the real flex? What if restraint is the ultimate dominance? Nietzsche would argue that the person who can hold their tongue while others scramble to fill the silence is already winning. This isn't just philosophy, it's psychology. Carl Jung, one of the most influential psychologists of the 20th century, once said, "In each of us there is another whom we do not know. He speaks to us in dreams and tells us how differently he sees us from how we see ourselves." That hidden self, the one that doesn't need approval, doesn't need to speak, is where silent power lives. Nietzsche's own life was marked by solitude. He spent years in isolation, walking through the Alps, writing in silence. And yet his ideas shook the world. He didn't need a stage. His power came from his refusal to conform, his ability to stand alone, and his mastery of silence. So how do you channel this kind of presence? It starts with awareness. When you enter a room, don't rush to speak. Observe, feel the energy. Let others reveal themselves first. Your silence becomes a mirror. They'll project their insecurities, their assumptions, their need to be seen. And you remain still, unreadable, powerful. Posture matters. Eye contact matters. Breathing matters. These are the tools of silent dominance. You don't need to interrupt. You don't need to argue. You simply need to exist with intention. That's how you become the person everyone watches, even when you're not speaking. And here's the twist: silence makes people uncomfortable. Most can't handle it. They'll fill it with noise, jokes, explanations. But if you can hold that silence, if you can sit in it without flinching, you've already won. You've shown that you don't need their validation. You've shown that your power comes from within. This is the first step to outsmarting anyone without saying a word. It's not manipulation. It's mastery. It's the art of being so grounded, so present that others feel it before they understand it. And once they feel it, they can't ignore it. Nietzsche didn't just write about this, he lived it. He rejected the academic world, walked away from institutions, and chose solitude over applause. His silence was his rebellion. His presence was his protest, and his ideas, they were thunderous even when he whispered them. In a world addicted to noise, silence becomes revolutionary. Now imagine applying this in your own life. You walk into a meeting. You don't rush to speak. You observe. You listen. You let others scramble for attention. And when you do speak, if you choose to, it lands like a hammer. Because you've already established your presence. You've already shifted the room. This isn't about being passive. It's about being intentional. It's about knowing that your silence speaks louder than their noise. It's about choosing when to speak and when to let your presence do the work. And if you're finding this idea powerful, if you feel that shift happening inside you right now, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We're diving deeper into the psychology, the tactics, and the transformation that silence can bring. You won't want to miss what's coming next because this is just the beginning. The real power lies in what comes next. The psychology behind silence, the tactics that make it work, and the transformation that turns quiet presence into undeniable dominance. Chapter 2. Outsmarting without words. The psychology of quiet influence. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's a psychological force. When used with precision, it can disarm, confuse, and even intimidate. In this chapter, we explore how silence becomes a tool of influence, how you can outsmart anyone without saying a word. Most people equate intelligence with speech. They think the smartest person is the one who talks the most, explains the best, or argues the loudest. But in reality, the most strategic minds often say the least. They observe, they wait, they let others reveal themselves. And when they do act, it's calculated, deliberate, and powerful. This is the psychology of quiet influence. It starts with presence. When you walk into a room, your body speaks before your mouth does. Posture, eye contact, breathing. These are your first lines of communication. If you stand tall, move slowly, and hold eye contact without flinching, you've already said something. You've said, "I'm not here to chase approval. I'm here to observe, to decide, to lead." People are wired to respond to confidence. But here's the twist. Confidence doesn't need words. In fact, the more confident someone is, the less they feel the need to explain themselves. That's why silence can be so unsettling. It breaks the rhythm. It forces others to question themselves. And in that moment of uncertainty, you gain control. Let's break it down. Imagine you're in a meeting. Everyone's talking, pitching ideas, trying to impress. You sit quietly listening. You don't interrupt. You don't rush to speak. Instead, you observe. You notice who's performing, who's insecure, who's trying too hard. And when you do speak, briefly, clearly, it lands with weight. Because your silence made space for impact. This tactic works in personal conversations too. When someone's trying to provoke you, silence can be your shield. Instead of reacting emotionally, you pause. You let them fill the space with their own assumptions. And in that pause, they lose momentum. They start to doubt. They wonder what you're thinking. That's power. Psychologists call this strategic ambiguity. It's the art of being unreadable. When people can't predict your next move, they become cautious. They hesitate. They adjust. And that gives you the upper hand. But silence isn't just about withholding speech. It's about intentionality. You're not passive, you're precise. You choose when to speak and when to stay silent. You control the tempo. You decide when the moment is ripe. And that control makes you unpredictable, which makes you dangerous. There's another layer to this. Emotional control. Most people speak to relieve discomfort. Silence feels awkward, so they fill it. But if you can sit in that discomfort, if you can remain calm while others squirm, you've already won. You've shown that your emotions don't control you, you control them. And that's the foundation of psychological dominance. Let's take it further. In negotiations, silence is a weapon. After making an offer, staying silent forces the other person to respond. They'll feel the pressure to speak, to justify, to counter, and often, they'll reveal more than they intended. Because silence creates tension, and tension reveals truth. In debates, silence can be used to dismantle arguments. Instead of responding immediately, you pause. You let the other person sit with their own words. You give them space to hear themselves. And often they'll backtrack, soften, or contradict themselves. Because silence makes people reflect, and reflection can unravel certainty. Even in relationships, silence can shift dynamics. When someone expects a reaction and doesn't get one, they're forced to reconsider. They start to question their approach, their assumptions, their power. And that questioning opens the door for change, but here's the key. Silence must be paired with presence. You can't just be quiet, you have to be intentional. Your silence must feel deliberate, not passive. It must carry weight. That means your body language, your gaze, your timing, all of it must work together. You're not fading into the background. You're becoming the background others can't ignore. This kind of influence doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice. You have to learn to resist the urge to speak. You have to become comfortable with discomfort. You have to trust that silence, when used well, speaks louder than words. Start small. In your next conversation, pause before responding. Let silence stretch. Watch how others react. Notice how the energy shifts. Then speak with intention. Say less. Mean more. Over time, you'll notice a change. People will start listening more closely when you speak. They'll watch you more carefully when you don't. You'll become the person whose silence carries meaning, whose presence commands attention. And that's how you outsmart anyone without saying a word. Chapter 3. Reclaiming Inner Strength. Becoming the Silent Strategist. There's a moment when silence stops being passive and becomes powerful. It's the shift from being quiet to being intentional, from being overlooked to being unforgettable. This chapter is about that transformation, how to become the silent strategist who moves through the world with quiet, strength, and undeniable presence. We've explored how silence can dominate a room and how it can outsmart others. But now it's time to turn inward. Because the real foundation of silent power isn't tactics, it's self-mastery. You can't control a room until you've learned to control yourself, and that begins with reclaiming your inner strength. Most people speak to be seen. They talk to prove something, to themselves, to others, to the world. But the silent strategist doesn't need proof. They've already done the work. They've faced their own chaos, their own insecurities, and emerged with clarity. That's why they don't need to speak. Their silence is earned. To become that person, you have to start with observation, not of others, but of yourself. Notice when you feel the urge to speak. Is it coming from confidence or from fear? Are you trying to add value or trying to be valued? These questions reveal the difference between reactive speech and strategic silence. The silent strategist doesn't suppress their voice. They refine it. They choose when to speak and when to hold back. They understand that every word carries weight, and that silence, when used well, can carry even more. This kind of control requires emotional discipline. You have to learn to sit with discomfort, to resist the urge to fill space, to let others speak first, act first, reveal themselves. And in that space, you gather information. You see patterns. You understand dynamics. You become the one who knows without needing to show. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear. The silent strategist isn't detached, they're focused. They don't waste energy on noise. They conserve it for impact. And when they do speak, it's with precision. Their words cut through confusion. Their presence shifts the atmosphere. This clarity comes from solitude. Not isolation, but intentional solitude. Time spent alone. Reflecting, refining, reconnecting with your own values. Nietzsche understood this deeply. He walked alone, wrote alone, thought alone. And in that solitude, he found strength. He didn't need the crowd. He didn't need applause. He needed truth. You can cultivate this too. Start by creating space in your life for silence. Turn off the noise. Step away from constant stimulation. Sit with your thoughts. Let them settle. Let them speak. In that quiet, you'll find clarity. You'll find the voice beneath the noise, the one that doesn't need to shout to be heard. From there, build rituals. Morning silence, evening reflection, walks without distraction. These moments train your mind to slow down, to observe, to choose. They sharpen your awareness. They deepen your presence, and they prepare you to move through the world with intention. The silent strategist also understands timing. They don't rush, they wait. They let others reveal their cards. And when the moment is right, they act, not with force, but with precision. Their silence has built tension. Their presence has built curiosity. And their action, when it comes, is unforgettable. This applies to every area of life. In leadership, silence creates space for others to rise and reveals who's ready. In relationships, silence invites depth and reveals who's willing to meet you there. In conflict, silence disarms aggression and reveals who's truly in control. But none of this works without self-trust. You have to believe in your own value. You have to know that your silence isn't emptiness, it's power. That your restraint isn't weakness, it's strategy. That your presence isn't passive, it's intentional. This kind of belief doesn't come from ego. It comes from experience, from doing the work, from facing your own shadows and emerging with clarity, from knowing who you are and who you're becoming. So ask yourself, what does my silence say? Does it speak of fear or of strength? Does it reflect confusion or clarity? Does it create space or tension? The answers will guide you, because becoming the silent strategist isn't about pretending. It's about transforming. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that doesn't need noise to be powerful, that doesn't need attention to be present, that doesn't need words to be wise. It's about reclaiming your inner strength and letting it speak through your silence.